Hey, all you love seekers and peacemakers, it's Brada Zen bringing you more messages of love from above. I was inspired to do a root chakra reading. Pick a card. So I'll talk about the root chakra, and I'll kind of break everything out in the comments below, just to kind of talk a little bit about the root chakra and then get into the reading. So you'll have 4 possible stacks to choose from. This will be stack 1, which will be the red Jasper Tower, and then you'll have a red stone, a red egg, and of course a red heart. So if you know which one you want and you want to skip the introduction about what the root chakra is about, go ahead and look in the comments below, and there will be links to each of these different readings. Enjoy! Alright, so all about the root chakra. As I talk about this card that I'll show you in just a sec, kind of what the root chakra approach is, you know, the root chakras are all our energy, like the 7 major energy centers that are most commonly talked about. But the root chakra is the one that is at the very base of the spine. And there's kind of two ways that I talk about it. One is like this journey from going from the lower, most physically base chakra all the way up to the crown chakra, which is of course the most spiritual. It's like the connection for our physical being to the spiritual world. And there's also kind of a journey of going from the outward in and meeting in the heart chakra. So I'll talk a little bit about how the crown chakra meets the needs of the root chakra. So I'll talk about that in a second as well. So just a visual for you on this card, I thought would be helpful. So we look at that. And then what I'm going to do is, this is a card from my Loved from Above Oracle deck that's not available yet. I'm working on that. Hopefully next year in 2021 it'll be available. But I'm going to kind of just talk through each of these little points on the sides here. So I'll go ahead and post this up front here in just a sec, and then I'll just go over each of these areas. So one of the things about the root chakra is it's kind of about the tribal aspect of our life, you know, the external, and how we deal with the experiences of the external world. Our focus is about acceptance and love and all those things from the outside. So of course the color is red, as you see on the card. As I mentioned, the location of the root chakra is at the base of our spine. Kind of the overall arching function of it is survival and grounding. It's the place where we discover and face our fears. When we have like a balanced chakra, then we have stillness and stability. As you can see in the right under the symbol here, it has what's called the awareness, which is experience. And you come here to experience what conditional love and fear might feel like. And we can even get to contrast it with unconditional love while we're in our physical form. So it's a powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being made of unconditional love having a physical experience. So during our spiritual journey, we experience so much. And that's where we go into the 4 items listed underneath that, starting with discovering our fears. So with that, life will provide us the opportunities to feel the uncomfortable emotions of fear that we signed up for. So we'll ride each of those scary rides until we grow tired of them and have had our fill. So the circumstance is repeated until we're done with it. And then we look at the next one, which is the fight or flight impact. The battle, defend, attack, run, freeze. So as fear is felt, our heart is kind of pinched with the activation of the fight or flight mode. We'll battle against any opposition to our expectations. We'll defend and attack, or we might run from battle, possibly freezing outwardly as we kind of play dead to the opinions of others. And fight or flight mode can impact our body in many physical ways, like a rapid heartbeat, dry mouth, aching muscles, a foggy brain, digestive issues, and there's so much more impact to our physical bodies. And then we look at the next item, which is conditional love expectations, and that's the structure, stability, security. So our fear ego will develop a list of conditional love laws which we're convinced are required to be met, in order to feel that stability and security of being acceptable and lovable. It's a structure of fear based on external validation that will always end in disappointment, because all the external things used for stability are unstable. So, people change or pass away, situations never stay the same, and possessions deteriorate, break, or are stolen. And then we look at the last one, which talks about on the forest floor, and that's survival, shelter, sustenance, alive for another day. So with that, picture a caterpillar crawling along the forest floor. That's what the big butterfly does before it goes through the transformative process within the cocoon. So the caterpillar focuses on surviving another day, making sure it has shelter, sustenance, and whatever else it feels it needs to survive. So that's kind of the summary of the experiences the root chakra takes us through in this life. And in the lower left-hand corner of the card, there's a little red bowl down there. And what that kind of represents is, the bull sees red and it charges. So a lot of our actions may be reactions at this point in our spiritual journey. We may not have fully realized the freedom we have to choose our emotions, so we may be choosing the emotions we've been taught and conditioned should be felt during that specific situation that's going on in our lives. And no emotion is wrong. We come here to experience, and that's exactly what we're doing every moment, experiencing. So it's perfect. And then moving up to the right-hand side of the card, you'll see where it talks about kind of the overall theme, which is I seek love. The crown chakra brings unconditional love. So, as I was talking about before, the root chakra is all about seeking conditional love from external sources, trying to fill the hole in our heart. And it's craving unconditional love, which can only be found from the internal realm, from the creator of all things. So the hunger of the root chakra is actually met by the unconditional love that we experience in the crown chakra. That's what connects us to the higher realms. And we'll talk more about the crown chakra in future videos, because I'm going to go through each of the chakras. So look forward to that in the future. So basically, what does the root chakra do? The root chakra is where you perform the work of discovering your fears, facing them, and learning how to control them. Here we distinguish our emotional fears from real physical threats. So this chakra kind of gifts us with the understanding of our fears. And it's no surprise that the root chakra oversees the area of our basic physical and material needs, like our finances, homes, careers, and safety. It serves as the foundation kind of the earthly plane. And when the root chakra is out of balance, so is our sense of security. It's interesting to note that sluggishness and back problems, especially the lower back, are related to the root chakra. Now, the fight or flight mode is triggered here when we worry about the future. Will we have enough food? Will we have enough money? And we experience anger, anxiety, and nervousness. Understanding the difference between real fear and our perceived fear is like basically the fundamental lesson to learn in the classroom of the root chakra. Lack of forgiveness also sits in this area, because fears are based on rules and the contrast of what is supposed to be measured against reality. Our fear ego holds claims against others who break our rules. There shall be wrath, it says. And if we follow our fears, they will lead us to their source. So if I fear something, I move toward it in my mind and discover what I actually fear. And if I fear outcomes related to love and death, children, friends, the job, or the state of the world, I can find release by following it to the root. So one of the important things, when we realize our root chakra is out of balance and we're feeling all those things that I've talked about, is balancing the root chakra. Because in balancing the root chakra, it increases our overall health, it grounds us, it controls fear, and it gives energy to the physical body. And we can balance the root chakra by focusing like on shades of red and through deep breathing. Because, of course, deep breathing calms us. Then we can inquire into our thoughts when we're in that calm state. We can see the movie that's playing in our head and discover how to free our mind and body from fear. Because our fear is rooted in the belief that we're not worthy or not lovable. And facing those fears with unconditional love helps us realize that fear is a lie. And balancing the chakra allows us to see that we're part of an ocean. We're not just a drop. And where fear shrinks and separates us into an individual, unconditional love joins us into one giant sea of love. And you see on the left-hand side, it talks about meditate on I am unconditionally loved. That's a good phrase that you can meditate on. I actually have a series of meditations, which includes this one, which I'll supply links in the description of the video below. So that's kind of the summary of give you an idea about what the root chakra is about, and we'll continue on to do our readings here in a moment. Just real quick, the cards I'm going to use are going to be the Fortune Cookies by Sharina Star, also the Chinese Fortune Reading Cards, also by Sharina Star. I'm also going to use the Numerology Guidance Cards by Michelle Buchanan, and then also the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. In addition to that, I am going to use my own Loved from Above Oracle deck. So, as I mentioned, these are not yet available yet to the public, but I'll also be using those. So, if you knew which of the four you wanted to do, the links are in the description below. So go ahead and click on that, and that'll forward you to that reading. If you chose stack number 1, which is going to be this red Jasper stone tower, then this is your reading. And we'll start first with these Chinese fortune cards to get the overall kind of feeling of the reading here. Alright. Almost done here. Yep, here we go. Okay, and so your overall card is Heaven. I'm going to grab the little book on this. Number 36, if that has significant meaning for you. And this says, overall it mentions unsatisfied with life, searching for happiness. Messages from the heavens, which is what we're doing today. It's saying that this is the most spiritual card in this whole deck, and messages from the heavens are more than likely. You may be facing some major challenges and questioning your future survival. Look for signs like the appearance of a willy wagtail or extra bright flowers appearing at significant times, or a clock that seems to stop for no reason, as these can be signs that your loved ones are close by. You will probably soon have dreams of a loved one that has passed over, and they will appear to you looking younger and healthier. You'll know they are happier and safe where they are. Pay attention to gut feelings, as intuition is higher than normal. So what a great card to start with. Next I'm going to use these numerology guidance cards, and I've only have the red ones in here, so it's a smaller version of the full stack. So we'll see what number has something to say for you here. Okay. And so the card for you is 91, Surrender. I'll put that one right there. And the 91, this card basically indicates a need to surrender your attachment to a particular situation or preferred outcome because your inability to let go is impeding your success. Desperation blocks manifestation. Therefore, the more you struggle to attract your desire, the more you push it away. By drawing this card, you are being encouraged to detach from the situation and surrender the outcome to the divine. In order to attract what you want, you must give the universe space to deliver your request. This can only be achieved by getting out of the way so that everything can unfold as it should. It isn't your job to make it happen. It is simply your job to allow it to happen. When you surrender the outcome to the divine, you let the magic flow. In order to improve your current situation, you're being asked to adjust to and harmonize with the natural rhythm and cycles of your life. Cycles that are encouraging you to let go, trust, and surrender. Make peace with your life as it is today and appreciate what you already have. When you do what brings you joy, rather than fret about the end result, divine order and timing will bring the perfect outcome your way. Wow, that's a good message for myself today. All right, and then we'll go ahead and I'm going to do these cards here. The Wisdom Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. Any additional messages here. And then we'll pull from my Messages of Love from Above and see what additional clarification I can have for you. Right. What additional messages do we have? And you've got number 40, which is co-create. You can see the little jaguar and the owl. I love the images of this deck. And for that one, the Oracle message is basically about creativity, art, inspiration, fruition, and manifestation. You may not consider yourself a creative person, but in fact you are creating your reality every moment of every day via your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, intentions, and actions. Yet you must consider that you do so in partnership with spirit, consciousness, God, or whatever name you call your higher power. You are a spark of this intelligence that works through you, nudging you with inspired thought and intuitive guidance. You are a paintbrush that co-creates a beautiful, unique expression of your own individually blended with universal spirit. You are a product of divine inspiration, and now you're aligned with it to create miracles. When you view your life as art and know you co-create it, only beauty and grace result. Prepare to be amazed. Wow, so I won't read the entire thing of the book there, but it seems like there's a message of divine, co-create with the divine, surrender to the divine, heaven. So pretty cool. Alright, and then I'm going to use my Love from Above deck here. What I'm going to do is going to pull 3 cards. One is going to be what you're coming out of from your past, what you're dealing with today around this time, and then just kind of what the next probably week or so is going to bring you as far as a focus. Okay, so we'll look at the past first that you're coming out of here. Okay, and this one is panic with stop, breathe, and respond. And then what I do is, because there's the minus 29, I add those together. That's minus 11, minus 2. Then I take 2 from the bottom of the deck. So the second from the bottom is, how does this fit into your spiritual path? So it's about chakras. Wonder what this is about. And since that has a 6 on the bottom there, then I will take 6 from the top. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, and this is about your hidden inner world. So we'll talk more about that here in a moment as well. So what you're coming out of from the past right now, which is totally understandable. I mean, there's so much going on in the world that, is causing panic. You feel like you're on fire with all the fires going on in the country, and just everything that is happening, of course, can ignite our fear and put us into a panic mode. But kind of the guidance that the whispers of love bring are, to, when you realize you're panicking, we stop, take a deep breath and breathe, and then respond instead of react. So that's what you're coming out of. So if you're feeling like you've been panicking, the good news is that with this card reading today, it's all talking about the root chakra, which is where all this fear happens. It also allows us to, look at ways to bring us out of that. And what's funny is, so with what we're dealing with right now, is we're dealing with the whole talking about the chakras right now. And, we were in the talking about the root chakra, the red chakra. So if you want some additional messages around this, how does this fit into your spiritual path, then if you didn't listen to the introduction on the root chakra, I really suggest to click on that. There will be a link in the description below that separates that out from these other 4 pick a stack readings, so you can go back there and look at that. But that's where you're at now, is just kind of asking yourself, what does all this mean? How does this fit into my life, into my spiritual path? How can I get out of this panic rut So, really look at that for some good information that's mentioned in that introduction to the root chakra. And then what you're kind of going to be focusing on over the next week or so, the moon card, which is a great card, it talks about the hidden inner world. So your emotional intentions, reflect on your reactions, life pattern discoveries, and it's about becoming more intuitive too. If it means anything for you specifically, the moon is actually the ruler of the sign of Cancer. So if the dates of June 21st to 7/22 mean anything to you, or you have Cancer in your chart anywhere, or you're dealing with a Cancer, it's about being sentimental, sensitive, nurturing, supportive, and protecting. So if you look at over this next week or so, as you become more calm with relieving that panic, taking those deep breaths, becoming calmer, during those times you can question your hidden inner world and kind of just focus in on that. And then lastly, to finish up this piece of the reading, I'm going to go ahead and just pull one of these little cards. These are called like fortune cookie cards. So we'll pick one final message for you here. Let's see what more little guidance I might have. Okay, and this says opportunities. So a stranger is about to change your life. Exciting times and plenty of action, plus a special family reunion looks likely. So in addition to what it mentions on the card here, just opportunities are coming your way. And I really feel opportunities regarding the root chakra. All these, I chose these for the red for a reason. And the root chakra really deals with our experiences here on this earthly plane. So there's opportunities coming up for you to look at those things that spark fear within you and to understand those, and just to get to the root to transform those from that panic to a place of more of unconditional love and peace. So hopefully, well, it's being stubborn here. Oh, helps if you turn it the right way. See an opportunity. So hopefully this brought you some guidance and some peace and some lovely messages for today. If you want to be notified of future card readings that I'm going to be doing, just go ahead and click the subscribe button below, and just choose that little all to get notified. And I really appreciate any likes or any shares that you have with this. It really helps the channel and allows other people to see this as well. So I wish you all the best, and I send you much love. You take care. Welcome if you chose stack number 2, which is this red, beautiful stone here. I don't think this is Jasper, but so if you know what rock this is, go ahead and put it in the description box below, but it's very beautiful. Alright, so what I'll do first is I'm going to pull from these this deck here to get your overall message for the reading here. And we'll see what other messages Spirit has for you. Alright, so here we go. What messages do we have for stack number 2? Alright. And you have Transformation, the Butterfly. This is number 19 up here, if that means anything special for you in particular. And I'm just going to grab the little book real quick and read just some of the basics from it. So transformation, of course, is reinventing yourself, renewal, a brand new lease on life. So this card indicates you'll reach your personal goals or plans by taking up a course of study or learning new skills. Whatever your course or training involves, know that it will help with personal growth and transformation. For relationships, it talks about the new you will certainly have a new attitude and a new aura of positivity, which could thrill some of your friends. Others may be a bit jealous or afraid of losing you. Focus on your positive friends and family as they want the best for you. If you're single, you could meet that special someone while studying or training for a new career. Simply taking up a new hobby could end up making you lots of new friends and connections that could last a lifetime. Alright, so transformation seems to be going to be your theme there. Next we'll take a numerology card here. I've only have the red colored cards in here, so the stack of course is much smaller here. So we'll see what additional clarity comes from this for you during this time. For the red rockers. Okay, there we go. And you've got number 81, which is leadership. So briefly on that one here, number 81. So this card indicates a time to lovingly lead and guide others who are less capable than you are. This may apply to your workplace, your community, family, or circle of friends. And by drawing this card, you're being encouraged to have confidence in your ability to motivate and inspire those who accompany you on your path. It also indicates a role as a leader in your field. You may choose to rise to the top of your game with your unique talents, or to lovingly lead others to a new, improved way of life. Either way, it's time to step up to the plate and adopt a position of authority, for you have a natural ability to lead. In order to improve your current situation, you're being asked to adjust to, harmonize with, the natural rhythm and cycles of your life. Cycles that are encouraging you to be a compassionate leader. Remember, a successful leader leads alongside others, rather than from above. Others graciously follow when you have their best interest at heart, so know that it is safe for you to lead the way. A little affirmation it gives them, this one is, I lead others and in turn serve a higher purpose. So awesome. So, kind of this had to do with transforming yourself and kind of learning either through official courses, thing like that, or, expanding yourself. So if you have interest in becoming a leader, going for a higher position at work or just becoming to a higher place in your life, then take this as a confirmation for that. Then next I'm going to take some additional little story from these cards here. This is the Wisdom Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. Alright, what additional messages do we have? Oh, here we go. Well, it looks like you have two here. You've got chaos and conflict and go the distance. You've got a 33 and a 47. So let me show you these. I love the artwork on these. Go the distance. And they're very similar too. Almost looks like he's headed towards the little horse. Uh-oh! Let's see if we get both of these to stay in here without disrupting too much there. I'm going to go with the distance one up front here. So I'll quickly read some of the information for those two cards. For the go the distance, it's about endurance, strength, the long haul. To bring your dream to life, you must think long-term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there's no need to fear the occasional obstacle. Life is not a sprint, This card is a reminder that you have endurance, strength, and fortitude to carry yourself all the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. And then I'm going to go to number 33, and we'll read that other one there. So chaos and conflict. Disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. So this oracle message is opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Kind of like the transformation. Although the conflicts appear to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Looking upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. I kind of want to picking up from this, just so the combination of these cards too, is there seems to be just, hitting this moment in your life where the external circumstances feel chaotic, whether that's losing a job, losing a home, losing a relationship, those types of things. But it's all part of this transformation that is designed to happen in your life. It says go the distance. You have the strength. You can become a leader if it has to do with a job. Maybe you lost a job or losing a position, but it's going to give you an opportunity to go into something more that is your passion and that you love to do. You might need some additional training for it, and so do that. It could be if losing someone in your life, from a relationship and things like that. This whole transformation is one of the biggest things, like in a relationship for me, is that they were always mirrors for me. They always showed me what I needed to see about myself until I saw it. So, if you had a relationship that ended recently, look at that, or look back at your past relationships and just to understand, what? I see what is happening here. I see a pattern of, all these individuals had the same type of reflection back to me. For me, I always was defining myself by how they were treating me, and over time I realized, what? I feel they're disrespecting me, but I'm disrespecting myself by looking outside of me for my definition. So, kind of use that as the catalyst for the transformation. You can look back, but know that you have the strength to go the distance. All right. Next, I'm going to do some of my love from above here. I'm going to pick 3 cards. One is going to be where you're coming from. And the second one is going to be what you're currently focusing on. And then the last one will be where you're focusing on in the next probably week or so. All right. So where are you coming from? What have you recently gone through that's brought you to where you are today? Okay, so you've got sadness. Boo, 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 boo. But you've got sadness. Become your own hero is what advice Spirit is giving on how you overcame this sadness and how you're overcoming that sadness. And then since that's a -3 on the bottom of the card, we'll pick 3rd from the bottom of the deck here to find out where you're at today. It looks like you're kind of in a frozen mode, or fleeing from a situation. We'll put that here. And since that was a 3 on the bottom, we'll take 3 from the top. And that's bye-bye love. All right. So let's talk about where you're coming from. So with the sadness, with this, the reason why we're sad is usually that some situation didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, or some person didn't do what we wanted them to do. So that disappointment kicks in, and we have that sadness because we were using them to define, our happiness, who we were, our worth. So what has kind of, the messages I'm getting is whatever has spawned this sadness, you have the opportunity to become your own hero, and that is where you're kind of coming into, because when the sadness kicked in, this is like the fight or flight, result, and this is the freeze or flight portion of it, which means with whatever unfolded, you just didn't have the fight in you for it anymore, or you couldn't fight for it any longer, whether it's, the other person chose to end their relationship, or, the company closed down, or your job position went away, or you were terminated or fired. Whatever situation it is, it was outside of your control. So now you're kind of just in this holding pattern. You're kind of just frozen. And that's where you're at today, just trying to understand what just happened, why am I in the situation that I am, and kind of facing that sadness. But I think during this period too, you're realizing, what, my life is in my hands. And when it talked about, becoming your own hero, you're realizing, what, I get to decide what the end result of this is. And that's where this comes in for the future here. This bye-bye love is when we feel we have loss in our life, because originally we believed this lie that 1 plus, it's a half and a half equals a whole. I'm only half of something, and the other thing was another half, which made me 1. But the truth that comes in to show us is that no, you're whole by yourself. So when you have that plus something else, whether it's a job or relationship or whatever it might have been, equals 2. And when that one thing goes away, you're still whole. You're still 1. So it's a mirror for you to realize and point to you to go, what? This whole experience is just to show you, with this little mirror, like I was talking about with relationships and them all being a mirror. Every situation is a mirror to show me how I feel about myself. And it'll continue to show me, I'll continue to repeat the same relationships or the same type of job or situation until it dawns on me, oh, this is about how I feel about me. And that's when we become our own hero, because we realize I get to define my worth. That's why they call it self-worth. Otherwise it would be retail price, because that's what you're worth to the external, but it's all about how you are in the internal. All right, and then we're going to take one fast little card here, and these are kind of, I think they're called fortune cookies. So we'll get one final message for you on here and see what they have to say here. All right. Here we go. Perseverance. You may feel like you are getting nowhere, but there are wonderful changes ahead. Don't give up. So that's kind of like that. Go the distance. How perfect is that? Perfect. All right. Well, I hope these messages brought you a little bit of hope in today with everything that's going on in the world. And if it did resonate with you, if you want to like the video, and if you want to share and subscribe, that helps out the channel as well to help spread the word of hope to the world. So I appreciate if you do any of that. If not, we will see you on the next video. You take care. Welcome to reading number 3. If you chose the third stack, which was this red Jasper Egg, then this is your reading. Okay, first I'm going to start off with these cards here, which will get an overall kind of theme for the reading. And then we'll pick some other cards from the other decks I mentioned if you saw the earlier deck video. All right. What is the overall? All right. Well, there we go. Got Celebration number 3. Beautiful card. Okay, I'm just going to grab from the little book here and just kind of tell you the things that jump out in here in the book. So celebrations, it's champagne celebrations. Socially having a ball. You're popular. Woohoo! So the Chinese symbol of celebrations is exactly that. Get out the black tie or the party dress and be ready for the time of your life. Be alert to the wonderful experiences awaiting ahead and celebrate what life has to offer. Your cup will overflow with joy and expect a full social calendar. The Chinese believe the color red is an emblem of joy, so be sure to wear something red when attending a celebration, party, or function. You're feeling more sociable and everyone will want your company, but be careful not to be too superficial or burn the midnight oil too often. Enjoy, but watch you don't overindulge in alcohol, physical activities, or food, as you'll pay for it later. This card is also auspicious for the more introverted, as it indicates that rewards are coming thick and fast for those who have put in past effort. Awesome. So good start. So celebration. It's about gratitude. Be thankful for the things that are coming your way. You put in the effort, and now you're going to get the reward. And if you've been, not as social because of everything that's going on in the world, it just is a sign that there's going to be some more social interaction, whether it could be virtual or physical as well. Next, I'm going to pull one of these Numerology. I only have the red cards in here, so it's a smaller deck, but we'll see what additional information we have for you here. Oh, there we go. And you got Individuality, number 11. Alright, I'm just going to pull from that little book as well, just to see what additional messages could be in here. So this 11 individuality card, it indicates a need to embrace your individuality and be your true, authentic self. Rather than follow the crowd, you're being guided to break away from the pack and take the road less traveled. Instead of feeling like you're a square peg in a round hole, you're being encouraged to build your own square hole. By drawing this card, you are being called upon to step up to the plate and celebrate your uniqueness. At this time, you must have the courage to speak your truth and march to the beat of your own drum, despite the opinions of those around you. What others think of you isn't your business anyway, and it's possible... it's impossible to please everybody, so you must focus on pleasing yourself. As you honor your individuality and feelings, you will reclaim your personal power and enhance your connection to Source, or the Creator, or God, whatever you believe your higher source is. When you do so, you can make your dreams come true. In order to improve your current situation, you're being asked to adjust to and harmonize with the natural rhythm and cycles of your life, cycles that are encouraging you to embrace your individuality. As you step into your power as your true, authentic self, you will improve your relationships with others and your overall quality of life. Very cool. So kind of a message in here, of course, mentioned celebrate yourself, which is awesome. So, definitely that's a huge piece of the celebrations. But also, as you're interacting with others, what a great opportunity it is for you to, rather than be drawn into who you think people are think you're supposed to be and trying to become different people for different people, that you can still interact with others and be yourself. And that's a great kind of place to be. It's kind of like a testing ground when you're hanging around others or interacting with others, that you having the courage to be yourself and be your authentic self, that creates that kind of arena, I would say, for you to do that. All right. Next, I'm going to pull one of these from the Colette Baron-Reid's. This is the Wisdom Oracle. So we'll pull a card from here to get some even more additional information and messages from the Creator and from Spirit, your angels, your guides, your ancestors. All right. What additional messages do you have for stack number 3 for the red eggers? Okay, almost ready. There it is. Observer. This is number 49. I love to show the artwork on these because it's so cool. It's got this little binocular. Okay, and I'm just going to grab the book there and just read a little bit from that one as well. There we go. So the essential meaning is about perspective, objectivity, neutral observation from a distance. So most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences. So much so that they come to believe that these are the only reality. There are times when you need distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances from a more neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times in your life. This is the perfect moment for you to begin to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment you're engaged with now. You'll be happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. I'm just going to read this relationship message here that comes with it, which is, sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. Take time out before you react. It's like the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to your situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. And I wanted to read that because kind of what I'm feeling from these cards, of course, is so this is about interacting with others. This is about recognizing your individual self in relation to how you're interacting with others. And then this is about being an outward observer of all the situations, just to kind of understand who these people are. So it's this big reflective kind of message of, you know, celebrate where you're at and what's going on and who you are, but also amidst all that, kind of just look at how the whole circle of things happen, you know, understanding that you don't know who people really are and what they're really going through, just like they don't know who you are and who you're really going through. Everyone's kind of putting on these masks and putting on these who they're supposed to be for other people. But getting to know yourself allows you to then observe and really see and get to know other people as well. So it's kind of getting through the fog, you know, seeing through the masks, behind the green curtain kind of feel to it all. All right. Next I'm going to do these Love from Above. This is my deck here, which is not yet available to the public. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one card. Is going to be what you're coming from right now, where you're coming from and what you're kind of coming into in the present, and then a card for where you're at right now, and then one for where you are going to be at and focusing on in the next week or so following this reading. All right. So where you are coming from is the power of now, and I'll talk more about that in a sec. Since that was a 4 and a 1 on the bottom, I'm going to pick the 5th card from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So where you're at now is what is sparking your emotional fire. Since that's a 2, I'll take the second one from the top, which is the power to laugh. Awesome. Oops. All right, so let's talk about where you're coming from. So the power of now, you can see that this is all talking about. This is the future. This is the past, or vice versa, whichever way you want to look at it. But these, the little blue, are where you're at now, and in this moment. So where I feel you're coming from is the focus was not so much on living in the moment. I really feel, for most of you, it's not really focusing on the past either. It's mainly about the outcomes of the future, which is understandable during these times. Life seems so uncertain with everything that's going on, but it really was no more uncertain than it was previously. We just weren't paying as much attention to it. There wasn't as much focus on it. So I really feel where you're coming from is just a real kind of fear of the outcomes of the future. Yeah, and so that's what's bringing you into the where you're at now, which this card talks about what is sparking your emotional fire. This is like getting to the root of what are you fearing. And that is kind of in that spot right now. If you've come across this reading, then the fears of the outcomes of the future that have rattled where you're coming out of, this is like a wake-up call. It's like, boo! And it kind of brings you into this moment to go, okay, let me take some deep breaths. Let me understand what am I really fearing? And really question those. Because I have found that usually when I get to the very, very root, and I keep asking myself, what am I really fearing? What am I really fearing? What am I really fearing? I'm either fearing a painful death, or I'm fearing being rejected by people or by God. So when we get to the root of that, we can understand, what is it am I really fearing, and is there really anything to fear about that? So that is where you're at right now. And maybe that's why you were brought to this root chakra reading, which is all about getting to the root of your fears. And for your focus for the next week or so is called the power to laugh. And this is one of your superpowers as well. In addition to this, power of living in the moment instead of the future. Another superpower that we have is the power to laugh. And even when we were told, you're not supposed to laugh at that type of situation, well, you know what? We can choose to laugh at that. And one of the other kind of details of this is the mouth of this little emoticon here. And that is the words we speak, either outwardly or inward in our self-talk. And that kind of talks about the adjectives. So the things that we use, like life happens to us. And life happens for us. And those are two choices we have to believe. Are we going to believe life happens to us? Or does life happen for me? And those adjectives is what tells us what we believe. So if I put a negative adjective to a situation, then I'm thinking life is happening to me and I become a victim. But if I put a positive adjective, or no adjective at all, then I know life is happening for me. So an example of that would be someone asking you, how was your day? I can say, oh, it was a crappy day. Well, that's victimhood and that life is happening, to me. Or I could say, I had a day without any adjective at all. Or I had a fantastic day, knowing that even if I had challenging situations, it was for my highest experience, and that I get to choose what it means about me. And that is what ignites that power back within me to where I can smile. All right. Then we're going to end the message here with one final little card. I keep on it in the camera. Sorry about that. But these are like little, what they call fortune cookies. So we'll get one final little message to end the reading here. There we go. And it says, care required. Guard yourself against deception and be careful mistakes at this time. So I really feel this is kind of reinforcing just what's standing out in my mind is personal care. Care for yourself. Spend that time on that individuality, just understanding who you are, being your authentic self, and guard against deception. Guard against what you think other people think of you and what you think of others, and just allow yourself to be authentic and be you, and allow others to be themselves and be themselves too. And without all that judgment, with all that adjectives that we're adding to it, we can actually smile and, have more peace rather than, that angst and fear. If you want more information about the fears, if you skipped the introduction to the root chakra, I'll leave a link down below. Just take a look at that because there's some good information in there too about fears. So, all right. Well, I hope this brought some peace, light, and love and hope into your life today with everything going on in the world. And if you want to like the video, that helps me out. Also, if you want to share and subscribe, if you want to be notified of any other videos that are coming up in the near future, that helps out as well. So with that, I wish you a great day and you take care. All right, welcome to reading number 4. If you chose the little red heart, then this is the reading for you. So we'll start off by picking a card from this deck here, just to get an overall theme for the reading. And we'll pick some other cards for some other decks to see what other messages there are for you. Okay, here we go. What messages do we have for the red hearters? All right, there we go. This is the spirit symbol, which is number 7 here. Beautiful card. Oh, look at that. And what I'm going to do is pull the little book out and just read what jumps out to me on there for you. So the spirit symbol means vitality, intuition, and spiritual energy at high levels. Messages from above and justice. So this symbol appears when you need to stick up for yourself or others. You will appear to have more energy than usual, and you will find yourself in situations that you would have walked away from before, only now confront head on. You will not allow others to browbeat you like you have in the past. You now demand and deserve respect. You are searching for truth and justice in your life, clearing away falsehoods and unfairness. A psychic awakening could be taking place as your spirit grows and develops. Events and actions about to take place will bring you to a new understanding of yourself. Through this, you will gain much wisdom. Wow, that is quite an awesome start to your reading here. Next, I'm going to pull from one of these cards here. These are the numerology cards, and I've only have the red cards in here because we're doing the root chakra, of course. So we'll pull one of these for you and get you the additional message on there. Okay. All right. So we've got health, number 71. So we'll put that right here. And again, I'm going to read from the little book here just to see what extra message is in there for you. So this card indicates a need to focus on your well-being and self-care. By drawing this card, you're encouraged to explore practices and behaviors that can enhance your physical, emotional, and mental health. Whether you explore conventional or alternative methods, it's important at this time to put your health and happiness first. This is a time to eliminate any unhealthy habits and behaviors that are impeding your success. You can seek professional assistance if you need to, or make improvements on your own. Some of the basic necessities for optimal health are regular checkups, good nutrition, exercise, drinking plenty of water, getting a good night's sleep, detoxification, going outside in nature, engaging in relaxing activities, avoiding toxic people and environments, maintaining a positive mindset, meditation or yoga, defining your personal limits and boundaries, doing what you love, laughing often, and spending quiet time alone. That's all. Some items to pick from there. In order to improve your current situation, you're being asked to adjust to and harmonize with the natural rhythm and cycles of your life, cycles that are encouraging you to work on improving your current state of health. This isn't a time to procrastinate, for you are being called to take action. Call upon your spirit guides and angels, if necessary, to be shown the next step to take for the sake of your health. And the affirmation is, with a healthy body and mind, I raise my energy vibration. So I really feel that this card is kind of just giving you some focus on you, because I feel like where you're at in your spiritual development here, in your spiritual journey, is that you give so much of yourself to others. Now it's time for you to take care of you. And in doing that, I love that about raising your energy vibration, because that will help you, go to that next step that you're looking for in your, spiritual side. All right, next we're going to pull one of these. This is the Wisdom Oracle deck from Colette Baron-Reid. I'm just going to pull one card from here and see what else we have to bring. All right. What additional message do we have for our big-hearted individuals? Oh, there we go. Between Worlds, number 3. I always like to show these a little kind of up close because such beautiful artistry in this. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab that real quick here. So the essential meanings of this card, Between Worlds, is about transitions, not being quite out of one situation and fully engaged in another. Temporary blindness, kind of no man's land. The Oracle's message for this card is, between the worlds is where you must let go of the tendency to make assumptions. This is a time when you are unable to see what is ahead. Cultivate curiosity and trust the process of change and growth. You are done learning the lessons of recent experiences. In this place, between what was and what will be, is a state of making and unmaking and making again. What is essential now is to admit not knowing. There is great freedom and power to be unleashed. A mystery that is not yours to understand weaves the web of life, within a divine matrix of consciousness greater than your own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, desires, and decisions. The seeds that were planted in the past begin to take root, but what surfaces will probably not be what you expect. When you are between the worlds, you're invited to see with the curious eyes of a child, glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. Do so, and you will not be disappointed. And I think I'm going to read the prosperity message that comes with this one too. And it talks about, in your work, sometimes you try things that have worked for others, hoping that you too will be successful. When this symbol appears, it reminds you that sometimes the path to your prosperity is a gamble. Win or lose, you can learn much from what comes of your wager. It's a good time to bet on your skills and talents in new and different arenas. Remain curious, and with the right combination of timing and luck, you will stumble upon something golden that will be unlike anything you've known before. So really feel this card really is in conjunction with these, is talking about where, of course, where you're coming from and where you're going, like the card said. But with this spiritual symbol and with a focus on you and raising your vibration, I really feel that you're going to be moving into just a new awareness and a new perception of your world, both physical world and your spiritual world. So some exciting things coming your way. Next, I'm going to use my Love from Above deck, which is not available to the public yet. But what I'm going to do is pull 3 cards. One is, what situation are you currently coming from? Where are you kind of at right now? And then where will you be at, like kind of focusing on in the next 7 days or so. All right, so we'll pick up, where are you coming from? What situation or emotions are you coming from? Okay, where are you coming from? Okay, here it is. All right, the Whispers. What a great card to start off with. I'll come back to that one. It had a 4 and a 3 on the bottom right there, so we'll do 7 from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is where you're coming out right now. And since that's a 5 and a 1, we'll do 6 from the top. And number 6 to see where you're going. All right, worky poo. All right. So where are you coming from? This is an awesome card because this represents the whispers, and this is hearing from, your spirit guides, from the Creator, from God, whatever you consider your, the source of your spiritual awareness comes from. And what a perfect, this is all about spirit and where you're going, that you already have a great intuitive gift, channeling spirit and having that communication. So where you're coming from is coming from a great place. And I kind of feel the reason why this is coming up for you is you kind of felt like you want more, you want a higher calling, you want to know, what is my life about? How can I share, this with the world? So, this is kind of where you're coming from and coming into this moment for this reading. And which brings you to this, which is, how can we, give unconditional love to the world? How can we share our gifts with the world? And this is kind of where you're at right now, which is using that love that you have, those messages that you get, to help both guide you and to guide others. So, kind of an answer to this spiritual quest, which that's almost like, it's like this is without navigation and this is with the navigation sign within it, is that you can trust that the message you have to bring will help others. It will help guide them in their lives. It'll help them convert their fears and that anxiety and the storm they're in, and help bring them and guide them through that storm back to calmer waters and calm places. So, you're in a great place, and if that's the message that you're getting, no, this is confirmation that yes, that is for you. Where this is taking you, and do not fear, this is called worky poo, which we'll talk about here. And what this is it's kind of the focus is like, don't let how you're going to share it and how you're going to do it become a burden. Don't let it become work. The advice that Spirit is giving is surrender. Surrender the hows and just follow your heart. Know everything is temporary, nothing's permanent. So there's never going to be a permanent way that you're going to share it. Kind of like it says, go with the flow. Go with what is on your heart and how to share it. And if it's, weekly, like, sometimes I know I feel like I'm supposed to do videos every week, and they're all supposed to be readings, they're all supposed to be this or that, or, specific. It's supposed to be structured because I have a very structured personality because of my astrological chart. But one of the best things is to know and just surrender all that and just go with the flow. It brings so much joy into your life. So that's kind of the focus, is when you're looking at how should I do all this, don't let it become a burden. Don't let it chain you down. Go with the flow, surrender. So good messages there. And we'll end your reading with these are little fortune cookie cards here. So we'll do one last message for you to end the reading here. Oh, there we go. So personal riches. So the message is, small successes are likely now and bigger ones are on the way. Finances could improve dramatically, but avoid get-rich schemes. And what this really is telling me, it could be, really about money, but what I'm really standing out to is not to think that, if this is what you're pursuing, to bring, your spiritual gifts into your actual work, don't think that, don't focus on that it's about the money and that it's about, supporting yourself. Do what you can one day at a time. Take one step at a time. Don't try to jump from start to finish, in one, huge step. It's going to be a lot of small steps. But the most important thing is to take it a step at a time and to take one step a day, even if it's just writing down ideas on how you think that you want to get to that, or doing a vision board, or, doing something every day towards the dream that you have. And before you know it, you look back and you're like, wow, I took 50 steps and look how far I came from where, if I'd have just been waiting for big success to come and for me to, hit it big and be discovered, or, whatever it might be. It's all about just take one step a day towards your dream and live your dream. Otherwise, you're just existing. So hopefully this helped out, brought you some guidance or some hope in these times that were going on in our lives today. And if it did, help you out and you liked it, go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, just like the video. If you want to share or subscribe, that helps out my channel and helps spread the love and hope to the world. So I'll have more of these coming up in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you a great rest of your day. You take care.